Battery can be described as an act of using intimidation to establish power and control over another person, and such intimidation is often expressed through beatings. In many societies, women are at the receiving end of this intimidation. Also, a large number of battering cases occur in developing societies where many cultures perceive women as playing second fiddle. Wife battering is referred to as repeated violent acts which could be psychological, sexual, or physical assault by a man against his wife, made with the intention of controlling her by inflict fear or pain on her. This act is common amongst men who still believe that they have the right to rule and control women, even though men have authority over their wives, and the women must at all times obey rules from her husband. Some men have misinterpreted this as beating their wives as often as possible in order to prove this and make her feel inferior to him. Of all forms of family violence, wife battering ranks second, following child abuse, in terms of the attention it now receives in public, professional, and scientific communities. This attention has been painstakingly slow to develop. Battered wives are often from homes where they are taught to be compliant and not voice their concerns, and this leads them into a similar adult relationship. Men who have been in homes where wife battering occurred as children are more likely to grow up into wife batterers themselves. Wife battering is a huge problem in the United States, with millions of cases of battering occurring yearly. Although one doesn't have to be married to be a victim of battering, a battered wife can be of any race, socioeconomic status, or educational background. Anyone can be a victim of wife beating.
Where a man subjects himself or reduces himself to the stage of battering the wife, then of course that is bestiality as far as I'm concerned. It's like living in the animal kingdom, you know. So not to rule out the fact that sometimes wives themselves could be a problem, you know, when they are not careful with the use of their mouths. Some women will even hit you first, and then when that happens, you are now forced to react. In all the cases, it doesn't make it right one bit, because the moment you reduce yourself to the level where you begin to batter your wife, you are saying that you never loved that woman. You are saying that that woman is less than human. You are saying, in fact, you don't even do it to your dog. So why will you batter your wife? As far as I'm concerned, there's no justification for it.
It's something that is ungodly. It's barbaric. It's something that should not be encouraged in our society. No matter how it may be, we are bound to quarrel, but we can as well settle. It is not by beating a woman that is that should be the result of quarrel or fracas in a home, because a woman is not given to a man to be beaten. A woman is given to a man to be loved, cherished, because it's the bone that is from your bone. And of course, how many years are we staying on this side that we have to be our enemies? We are to complement each other and make this world comfortable for us. If we fight and we beat each other, it's no longer love. We are living as animals. And thank God we are not animals, we are human beings, representative of God. So I will advise and I will admonish married men or couple. As a man, don't ever beat your wife. Love your wife. If you are annoyed, you can get her, you come back and settle yourself. That is just it. And as a woman too, don't provoke your husband to the extent of allow him to beat you. When you see him that way, disappear and reappear later. Of course, I believe that any man that beats a woman is mentally deranged, and that person needs to be taken to psychiatric hospital for treatments.
There are so many factors that are responsible for wife battering. Number one, if we are looking at the medical aspect of it, there are some people that are going through depression. Number two, spiritual factor. Then number three, the environment we live in, the kind of the kind of our settings here. But if we are to talk about the medical aspect of it, some men are going through very high level of depression, and their wives will think they are harsh, they are just being harsh, or maybe they are irritative. No, we have to study the kind of man we are getting married to. Then another thing, churches, we should rise up. Pastors, we should rise up, we should speak. We should teach our members what to do, because there are some churches, they go against divorce and all that. So when all these women are going through this thing, they'll be afraid to speak. They'll be afraid to speak up. So there are so many factors that are responsible, but the most important factor is this medical one, spiritual, and the kind of environment we live in. So women that are going through it, they should speak up. That is just my advice, because so many factors are responsible. There are so many men. I do counseling here. I see so many men that are going through depression as a result of what is going on in their lives. So that is number one. Then spiritual factor is responsible too. Then family background of the man. You don't know the family in which you are getting married to. We should do a proper check before we get married. And I want to use this medium as well to talk to the men. If you know you are tired of your wife, send her packing. Go for divorce instead of killing her, or instead of hitting her. Because women, we are, God created us in a very different way. So if you hit a woman like this, what you are doing is you are killing her.
No wife or any situation can cause a person to beat another. It's important to understand this, as victims often blame themselves for being battered when it is never their fault, no matter what the batterer says. Although many cases of wife battering are not documented, a large number of them have resulted in death and dissolution of marriages. Most victims of domestic violence opt for judicial separation to save themselves from untimely death. But many still stay in the pain and anguish to save their marriages for the sake of their children's future. Some developing societies, including Nigeria, see battery as a family matter to be handled internally. A lot of husbands are finding it increasingly difficult to meet their financial obligations in the home, which leads to the twin evil of frustration and violence. In developed countries, women are known for their contributions to the running of the home, and that in such countries, battery is minimal. But the situation is different in Nigeria, where men bear the financial burden and expect total submission from the women. They get easily irritated at the slightest provocation and resort to beating the women. Battery is one of the major reasons why women file for divorce. Some women in Nigeria are suffering from this domestic violence. Many men beat up their wives for frivolous reasons. Many battered women still want to keep their marriages because of the value the Nigerian society places on marriage. Some battered women are enduring their marriages. They refuse to file for divorce because of their children's future. They don't want to be single mothers or divorcees.
Some men no dey get patient, because nobody wey no dey make mistake. Nobody dey perfect. Na manage, we dey manage each other. If woman dey talk, if man marry, you see say your wife, understanding man, you see say your wife dey vex, you go calm down. If the man sef, the woman see say your husband dey vex, she go see calm down, because like my own, like me and my body dey hot. If I dey talk, my husband go just do like say he no hear whether I dey talk, because once my husband don start to dey beat me, children no go give us respect again. That one not good. Whether money dey, money no dey, man dey provide, woman dey provide. E no be compulsory thing say na only man. God no create man, make man die. If the man dey try small, you as a woman, you still try, because nobody dey perfect. The one where you dey judge, or you no know wetin that one dey pass through for house. Everything na packaging. You package your husband, you package yourself. Men sef, package your wife, you package, because some men dey go outside. When they go reach outside, some men go tell them say, this kind thing, my wife no dey try am o. All those things, if you dey listen to another person, if dey scatter person house, just be yourself.
I've heard of a man that said, my wife also do beat him. this woman beating what? The husband. He said, why? Because the woman said, the man promised the wife, I'm not going to, once I'm married, I won't lay my hands on my what? Wife. He have already promised the wife that being that he is a Christian, the wife capitalized on the man's weakness because he had already made that pledge that he won't touch the wife in respect of whatever will happen. Before the man would do any little thing, the woman would give the man what? Slap. The man, for years, the man said, this woman have been doing it. What happened? A day came, the man said, no, I can no longer endure because the children are already growing up. The children also begin to witness it. The man said no. Before he begin to say, my wife, you must stop this nonsense. One day, you have to teach the wife what? A lesson. There are so many women. Most women maltreat their husband. They don't encourage their husband. They act suffering to their suffering. Many women, emotionally, they will torture their husband without the man saying it out. Many men are suffering in silence. There is no man naturally born to be wicked. But the environment the man grew up, the society he found himself, make the man to be what he is. At times, in every man, there is a beast and there is a king. Same thing is applicable to every woman. In every woman, we have the beauty there, and there is also a witch in every woman. So if you see a man battering the wife or beating or maltreating the wife, know that something is wrong somewhere. Because when the woman begins to torture the husband, man can endure very well. But at the end of the day, when the man could no longer endure, the next thing you see is physical what? Abuse, which ought not to be so. That is where maturity and patience comes in. If the man is matured enough and is well patient, you know that as far as that's a woman. Women are entitled or bound to make nonsense because women talk anyhow. They can do whatever it pleases them. But as a man, when you find that your wife is already provoked, the head is already, something is wrong there, upset, what do you need to do? You leave the house for you to begin to maltreat the woman, begin to beat hell out of the woman. The same thing is applicable to a man. For a woman to bring out a king in a man, at least the happiest moment of a man is his weakest moment. Every woman knows when the husband is happy. Every woman knows when the husband is weak. So it is that point in time that you're supposed to make your demand if you want to get anything right, when your husband is in the right mood. But some women don't know that when the man is stressed up, maybe passing one trial or the other without even confiding to the wife, because men would like to keep everything to themselves without the woman knowing it. At the end of the way, the woman will still add more pain to the man agony, to what the man is passing through, which ought not to be so. Before you knew what's happening, the man will what? Flame up. So all these things are what will happen in the family.
Actually, I have both male and female as children. So it's not really good when you hear that your son-in-law is beating your daughter or your daughter-in-law is beating your son in the marriage. I think it's not a good thing to hear, because after marriage, all the prayers that goes with marriage is you will get sweetness, and the Bible says he that finds a wife found a good thing, obtained favor from the Lord. And the Bible also extended that women are helpmates to their husband. So I think it's all good thing. The initiative of marriage is just very good and perfect. It's an institution God instituted himself. So no man has power to actually intrude in it. Why I can say something about this is I am married to my wife, and legally, traditionally, so I can say something. And I've been in the marriage for 8 years. See, most time, what people don't address when it comes to women issue of battering is this: men are the less talkers. I mean, they don't easily talk their problem. They don't easily share their problems because they feel they are the men. People will always blame them of everything they explain, everything they think they are explaining to someone else, like, oh, my wife is a bad woman, my wife told me this, my wife. Men look at it as a form of weakness. If you as a man is saying that, no, one question people will ask you: did you not court her? Did you not know her before getting married? All this whole thing is just something. Even if you are dating a woman for 20 years, the true character will not reflect. It's after marriage you start seeing it will be unfolding. My manager, one of my managers sometime in my working place told me something. Said women has two pictures. Said the first one is when you marry them, they will show you one character. And when their first son is about 20 years old, you also see another character of a woman. That time she can beat her chest and say, my son will deal with you. You know, it's another, you know, why the marriage is another strength for her. I am married, I go nowhere. Now this is it. Every woman that will enjoy marriage, first thing, you must honor and respect your husband. You must honor and respect your husband. Whatsoever your husband becomes is what you are addressed as. Like, if I'm crowned a king, you are called a queen. But I haven't seen yet here in Nigeria when a woman is crowned a king, why the man become a queen. I don't know if you have ever seen that. So now it's accord unto man for a woman to respect and honor her.
On the other hand, husbands are also battered. Battered husbands have historically been either ignored or subjected to ridicule. In 18th century France, a battered husband was made to wear an outlandish outfit and ride backwards around the village on a donkey. One reason researchers and others had not chosen to investigate husband battering is because it was thought to be a fairly rare occurrence. But another reason is that because women were seen as weaker and more helpless than men, and men on the other hand were seen as more sturdy and self-reliant.
If you speak up, people know what you are passing through, then of course help will come. You know, help will certainly come. If you don't speak up, you're on your own. You swallow the bitter pills, and then you pay the ultimate price.
If the thing keeps on coming up, occurring, move out. If you die because of a man, the next minute the man is getting married, what you need to do is that cry out. There is no sin in it. If he's living that life, say it out. And if it doesn't change, you move out of it, because life has no duplicates. So if you die inside that marriage, you are your own. God will even ask from you, you have already wasted your destiny, because wisdom is required in marriage. So I will encourage, don't stay, cry out. If you cry out, there is no changes, move out of the place, and God will still give you peace of mind. Marriage is not criteria to enter heaven. It's just for us to manifest the works of God on earth.
There are so many women that are going through depression. Some of them, I know people will not believe. You know, there are so many women, you know, spiritual factor too. Some women, I do a lot of counseling here. Some will say, as soon as I see my husband, I get angry. I don't like him again. I feel like hitting him. You know, there is a spirit that is responsible for that. But whether you like it or you take it, a spiritual factor is also responsible. And the kind of environment we live in the aspect of women, the kind of friend they move with, you have to choose the kind of friend that you are going out with. Some men are still going through, but it's on the women's own is on the high side. Yes, for the women, it's on the high side. But for those men that are going through it, they should speak up as well. Talk to your pastor. If your pastor is not helping, then you go out and, you know, look for another good marriage counselor and talk to them. Don't die in silence.
For me, as far you don't marry, you don't marry. Then say Bible say, wife, submit to your husband. Everything for this life, as far you don't born for man, leave the man, just they follow those children. Not be say you pack come out to anything where the man do, you use and rob because of children. But not be beat. When you see say don't come to the extent for the man to hit you, you stay clear from the man. You find where you won't go. If not to go outside though, not be say you can't go outside, you don't they talk with it, the man not like oh. The man feel fly fence or fly gate, come meet you, go see beat you. But some men they not see good. Any little thing one woman they go do when they go take correct the woman and slap. And it's not good. You not be animal. And once you they beat your wife, now yourself you they beat now. They say marriage not be for third party. Sometimes even fourth party feel involved. When you see say man they beat you, today he beat you, tomorrow he beat you, you go find a closest friend or sister where go fit talk to her. You go report her for her. But once you see say those people no fit talk to am, say the man na animal, na they live inside the man, you leave the marriage. Because me don't happen to one of my junior sisters, and I said they say, bear the man is small thing. Once they don't get girlfriend for outside, that thing they bust their head though. When they come, they hide. If you use mistakenly go see the phone, my sister now beating. That kind one, I don't advise woman make it stay. But if you say na hunger, you feel bear because it go better.
I will encourage every woman to bring out the king in the husband and let the man also bring out the beauty in the wife instead of the witch. Because whatever you give to a woman, she will multiply it and give it back to you. At times, devil learn when the woman is what? When the woman is provoked, devil learn wickedness from the woman. They will say, how come? That is the woman for you. They will multiply everything. But if you want to bring out the beauty in that woman, what will you do? You allow the woman to make decisions for herself. Because some men see women as slaves. They want to mature, they want to give the woman direction here and there. By so doing, you no longer see the woman as your helpmate. You are not seeing the woman as what? Slave. Seeing her as slave, she don't like it. The woman will definitely what? Flame up. But if you make the woman, if you want to get the best from the woman, what will you do? You see her as your helpmate. You confide in her. By so doing, the woman will give you the respect. But if you begin to hide one or two things from the woman, what will happen? The woman, what you are not, you want to think that you have it. At the end of the day, you get a wrong picture. So those are some of the things men don't know. And women also don't even know it, that this man is passing one or two trials. So every woman should be willing to take shit. And every man should be willing to take nonsense from the woman if you want to live a happy home. Hide nothing from each other. See your wife as your helpmate, not your slave. The same thing, see your man as your king. Even though they maltreat your husband in the public or at work. But when he's coming home, let him be your king. At least encourage him, confide in him. Know what he has passed through for the day. By so doing, you find that both of you will live in harmony. You will live in peace.
My candid advice here, if you are being battered and you don't like the situation, quit. And how do you quit? This is it. Make sure you are able to communicate with your family, because marriage is between both parties. Communicate to your parents. I will communicate to my parents. At this junction, they are going to, with wisdom, they are going to explain to you how you are going to be taking care of the children and all.
A battered wife may stay in a relationship for a variety of reasons. Generally, victims stay because the fear of leaving is greater than the fear of staying. Fear of the unknown can be a powerful reason for staying put. Also, victims are often threatened with physical harm if they try to leave. It is well documented that victims are at the most risk of injury when they try leaving. They feel the abuse isn't real or isn't that bad. Think they can change the abuser. Believe it will never happen again. Believe that help won't work, or that no one will believe them, or that they deserve the abuse. Don't want to break up a family. Stay with a batterer because she feels sorry for him, as he often comes from a history containing abuse. Are economically and psychologically dependent on the batterer. Are afraid for the welfare of others, like their children. But of course, any level of wife battering is not okay, and any wife who has suffered battering should get help for it immediately. Often, convincing a battered wife to leave their batterer is about convincing them that their false thoughts about the abuse are wrong. It's important for people or women to know that they cannot change someone else. Only they can choose to change themselves. Some possible solutions to domestic violence should be made up of assistance programs that defend the women who has witnessed abuse or is currently being abused. They frequently focus on the critical period faced by the victim after he or she leaves the home and is provided with food, shelter, and guidance. This is the period when the woman or man who is the victim of abuse is most vulnerable. It is the time that the victim seeks retribution from the abuser, or when she may be forced to go back to the house out of desperation. Long-term strategies aimed at educating the public and empowering the victim to reinstate his or her life without violence. It also includes developing programs that create atmosphere of anti-domestic violence in the community. Any intervention given to the survivors of domestic violence needs to include interrelationship among health, legal, and social sectors to ensure that stability is maintained and the victim is not constantly referred to a new agency. One particular groundbreaking strategy is to make use of family crisis centers or victim advocates to serve as the victim's connection to a number of sectors. However, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, passed in 2015, provides protection for a wide range of types of violence against women, including domestic violence. Caroline Okonji on Special Report.